Hey guys, how you going? This is Billy Eat World again. Thanks for stopping by, and just remember, if you like what you see, don't forget to hit that like button. Also, feel free to take a look at some of my other BF4 videos. You can find them all in a playlist in the description down below. But anyway, today we're going to be taking a look at another theme loadout, this time inspired by the French GIGN. And that's because I've been playing a lot of Rainbow Six Siege lately and I'm a big fan of Rook, so I figured I might try and make his loadout work in BF4. As always, if any of you other guys have a theme you'd like me to take a look at in a future video, then feel free to let me know. But just remember, I don't have time to check out every single loadout, so make sure you come up with something fun and unique, and there's a good chance I'll give it a go. Now, to kick off, the GIGN, or National Gendarmerie Intervention Group, are the Tier 1 counter-terrorism force of the French police. Like many counter-terrorism units, they were first formed in 1973 after the Munich Olympics crisis, which highlighted the need for a dedicated hostage rescue team. Since then, the unit has taken part in over 1,000 operations, rescued over 500 hostages, and arrested over 1,000 suspects. In that time, it's also grown to around 420 members, which are organised into 4 20-man operational teams and their various support units. Unlike many law enforcement-based counter-terrorism units though, the GIGN is a true Tier 1 unit and is often deployed to handle the most high-risk missions. They've also been deployed overseas, including working with French commandos on anti-piracy operations in the Gulf of Aden. For this reason, GIGN members are some of the highest trained SOF units in the world, with only 7 to 8% of applicants making it through their grueling training program. And that's because of every SOF role, counterterrorism is by far the most delicate, and the GIGN is arguably one of the best hostage rescue units in the world. Now, the GIGN are probably most well known for their liberation of 229 hostages aboard Air France Flight 8969 in 1994. The flight was hijacked by Islamic terrorists in Algeria who killed 3 passengers and then had the intention of blowing up the Eiffel Tower. The plane fortunately didn't have the fuel to reach Paris, so it was forced to land in Marseille, France, where the GIGN were waiting to assault. The siege was subsequently resolved in a fierce firefight which killed all 4 terrorists, but also sadly resulted in the injury of 26 hostages and 9 of the 30 GIGN operators. Also, in just the last year, the GIGN was deployed in response to the Charlie Hebdo attacks, and were actually the group responsible for killing the 2 terrorists. They were also deployed only a few months ago on the 13th of November to extract hostages from the Bataclan Theatre during the Paris terrorist attacks. Only a week later, in a separate incident, 50 GIGN operators were also deployed to Bamako, Mali, to handle another hostage situation carried out by Al-Qaeda. So as you can see, the role of this group is critical, and with the rise in global terrorist incidents, it's likely their role will become even more important in the future. Now, as for this loadout, well, clearly it's been inspired by Rook from Rainbow Six Siege, so it couldn't really be as realistic as I'd normally like it to be. That being said though, I think the P90 is a pretty accurate choice, and the Magnum is more or less a standard looking double-action revolver. As for the gadgets, well, I couldn't exactly run with a launcher, so I decided to run with the EOD bot and the decoy, which I think fits in with the tactical theme. And to round out the loadout, well, obviously I went with the defensive perk for the extra armor, and also the hand flares because Rook doesn't use grenades. As for attachments, well, on the P90, I decided to go with the RDS sight, the suppressor, and the laser sight, which are all available in Siege. I probably should mention though that the GIGN actually use aimpoint optics in real life, but the RDS is close enough, and like I said, it is in Siege. On the Magnum, well, I don't think I need to go into why I'm not using any attachments, but I will say that this gun really sucks without some sort of sight. I actually ended up adding on a ghost ring because it's just so hard to be accurate, and even then it wasn't that great, so I think it really could do with a mini RDS instead. So this is the point in the video where we normally talk about how this loadout performed in-game, and I probably should start by saying that the EOD bot and the decoy are just not even worth talking about. They both make you vulnerable and they don't really serve any useful purpose on most maps, so in a nutshell the best way to use them is to not use them at all. The same can be said for the hand flares, but like I said, the reason I ran them in the first place was because Rook doesn't have any grenades. So basically the only useful parts of this whole loadout are the weapons, which isn't very encouraging considering they aren't really the best weapons in the game. The P90 is basically a close range PDW, which trades off damage and accuracy for capacity and rate of fire. It's not completely terrible, and it's got a lot of rounds to spare if you're not very accurate, but you will get outshot by AEKs and most other fast-firing weapons. The Magnum, on the other hand, I've just never been able to get into, and to be honest, I don't think in the entire play session I even got one kill with it. And that's because you really need to stay in close range with the P90, which is definitely not where you want to be if you have to switch over to the Magnum. So all in all, I'd have to say that this loadout was altogether pretty ineffective, but it just goes to show how different BF4 is from Siege. I mean, it doesn't really matter how much the P90 does in that game, because with the one-hit kill headshots, all you've got to do is spray and pray. The gadgets in this loadout also show you that in BF4 you just don't have time to stop and think tactically like you do in Siege. So it's hard to say what I'd change to make this loadout better, and to be honest, I'd just edge on the side of scrapping the whole thing completely. That being said though, this was a fun video to make because it was a very challenging loadout. So if you've run out of things to do in BF4 and you want to test your skills with something new, then by all means try and make this one work. Also, I should mention that the GIGN was an awesome unit to research, so I'd highly recommend looking them up if you get the chance. Apart from what I knew from Siege, I really didn't know much about them at all, and it turns out that they're one of the most interesting and important SOF units in the world. But anyway, guys, that just about wraps up this video. So let me know what you think in the comment section below, and as always, if you like what you see, don't forget to hit that like button. Also, check out the links in the description below if you want to see more of my videos, or if you want to support my channel on Patreon. And until next time, see you later, and have a good one.